Your mind used to believe in you. Every promise felt real. Every goal felt possible. Every night you went to sleep telling yourself tomorrow would be different. Tomorrow you would wake up early. Tomorrow you would train harder. Tomorrow you would finally start. And for a moment, you believed it. Deeply. Completely. But tomorrow came. And you didn't move. And then tomorrow came again. And again, you stayed still. And somewhere in that silence, something changed. Not loudly, not dramatically, no explosion, no collapse, just a quiet withdrawal. Like a person who has been lied to one too many times, your own mind began to step back from you, began to watch you with less certainty, less fire, less faith. This is not a speech about failure. This is a speech about something far more painful than failure. This is about the moment your mind stopped trusting you. Think about the first time you made yourself a promise. You were younger. Maybe you had just seen something that lit a fire inside you. A person who had built something real. A story of transformation. A moment of inspiration that reached into your chest and grabbed something. And you said to yourself, I want that. I will do that. I will become that. And you meant it. With everything in you, you meant it. But discipline is not built on meaning it. Discipline is built on doing it. Repeatedly, without applause, without witnesses, without the fire of inspiration burning underneath every step. And when that fire dimmed, as it always does, you stopped one day. Then a week, then you stopped counting. And then you made another promise. And broke that one too. And another. And another, until the promises themselves started to feel hollow before you even finished making them. Until the voice inside you that used to say you can do this began to speak, more quietly, more carefully, as though it was no longer sure it should invest the energy. This is how self-trust dies, not in one catastrophic moment, but in 1,000 small abandonments, 1,000 mornings where you chose the comfort of the bed over the discomfort of becoming, 1,000 evenings where you told yourself you were too tired, too stressed, too overwhelmed, when the truth was simpler and much harder to accept. You were afraid, and comfort was easier than confrontation. There is a version of you that existed before the damage, before the years of starting over, before the cycles of motivation and collapse, before the hollow feeling that settles in when you realize you have been here before. This exact moment, this exact promise, this exact version of this time will be different. That version of you believed without question, had not yet learned to be skeptical of their own intentions, had not yet felt the particular ache of watching yourself betray your own potential again and again, not because you lacked talent, not because the world was against you, but because you simply did not follow through. And that ache, that specific, quiet ache, that is not failure. Failure is external. Failure happens to you. What you are carrying is different. What you are carrying is the weight of self-betrayal. And self-betrayal is not something the world does to you. It is something you do to yourself. Slowly, patiently, one unfinished chapter at a time. You have felt it. The way your own confidence doesn't quite show up the way it used to. The way you start thinking about a goal and immediately, before the thought is even fully formed, some part of you is already cataloging the reasons it won't work. Already calculating the probability of you quitting. Already preparing for the disappointment. That is not pessimism. That is pattern recognition. Your mind is not broken. Your mind is doing exactly what it was trained to do. It watched you abandon things. It collected evidence. And now when you present it with a new ambition, it consults its records. And the records say, this person does not follow through. This is the real consequence of broken discipline. Not the goals you didn't reach, not the physique you didn't build, not the business you didn't start. The real consequence is that you taught your own mind to bet against you. And now you live inside that. Every day, underneath every ambition, that quiet skepticism. Underneath every plan, that invisible ceiling. The weight of a mind that has seen too much evidence to believe in you the way it once did. That is the damage. And now we talk about the repair. Rebuilding self-trust is not dramatic. It does not begin with a speech. It does not begin with a playlist or a revelation or a perfect moment of clarity. Real rebuilding begins in the most unglamorous, thankless, invisible way imaginable. It begins with one kept promise. Not a big one. Not a promise that will reshape your life or impress anyone or feel worthy of a story. Just one small promise. One that you actually keep. You say you will wake up at a specific time, and you do. You say you will do 10 minutes of work on the thing you have been avoiding, and you do it. You say you will not make the excuse today, and you don't. And your mind notices. Not explosively. Not with celebration. It notices the way a skeptic notices one piece of counter-evidence, quietly, carefully, filing it away, and then you do it again, and again, and the evidence begins to shift. This is the part no one wants to hear, because it is slow, because it is unsexy, because you will not feel transformed. You will not wake up one morning and suddenly believe in yourself again. There is no switch. There is no moment. There is only the accumulation. Every early morning where you chose to rise before you were ready. Every session where you showed up without motivation, without energy, without anyone watching, without the outcome being guaranteed, and you worked anyway. Every time you felt the pull toward the comfortable choice and chose the harder one instead. Each of those moments is a deposit. And self-trust is rebuilt the same way it was destroyed. Slowly, quietly, one decision at a time. And there will be days where you don't feel the progress. Days where it feels like the work is vanishing into empty air. Days where the old version of you whispers that this is just another cycle. That you'll collapse again. That you always do. On those days, you don't argue with the voice. You simply act. Because action is the only argument the mind actually respects. There are two versions of you existing right now. One of them is still in the loop. Still waking up with intention and falling asleep with regret. Still starting and stopping. Still negotiating with themselves over the same handful of decisions they have been negotiating over for years. Still telling themselves a story about who they will become, while living in a way that contradicts every line of it. That version is not weak. That version is lost. There is a difference. The lost version still feels the call towards something greater, still has the vision, still burns with the awareness that they are not living at their potential. But they are waiting for the perfect moment. Waiting to feel ready, waiting for motivation to arrive and sustain itself, waiting for the circumstances to align, and waiting is the trap. Because readiness is not a feeling that arrives before the work. Readiness is a state you build through the work. The discipline comes first, the confidence follows, always in that order, without exception. And then there is the other version. That version is not louder, not more motivated, not blessed with better circumstances or more time, or fewer obstacles. The only difference is a decision. A decision that happened quietly. A decision that did not feel cinematic in the moment. A decision that said, I am done waiting to feel ready. I am going to act. And let the feeling catch up. That version gets up early when it is hard. That version does the work when nobody is watching and nobody will ever know. That version endures the part of the process that looks like nothing from the outside. The weeks that feel like treading water. The months where the results haven't arrived yet but the discipline has already taken root. That version is building something your mind can finally believe in. Understand this deeply. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is not suffering for the sake of suffering. Discipline is the language language of self-respect. Every time you honor a commitment you made to yourself, you are telling your own mind you matter. Your goals matter. Your potential is worth protecting. And every time you abandon the commitment, you send the opposite message. You are not just losing progress when you quit. You are reinforcing a belief. A belief that says, I am the kind of person who doesn't follow through. And beliefs, once deeply rooted, shape every choice you make. Every goal you allow yourself to want, every risk you allow yourself to take. You cannot out-motivate a broken belief. You can only replace it through evidence. And evidence only comes from action. This is why the small things matter so much. Not because making your bed changes your life. Not because 10 minutes of focused work is enough to build an empire, but because every small kept promise is a brick. And bricks, laid consistently, become walls. And walls become the architecture of a person your mind can finally trust. There is a silence that exists in the early stages of real transformation. No one is watching. No one is commenting. No one is tracking your progress or celebrating your consistency. The world does not know that you woke up early this morning. Does not know that you chose discomfort over comfort. Does not know that something inside you is shifting. And that silence is where real character is built. Because anyone can perform discipline when people are watching. Anyone can show up when the stakes are visible and the applause is possible. The true measure of your commitment to yourself is what you do when there is no audience. When no one will ever know whether you showed up or didn't. When the only person keeping score is you. And your mind is always keeping score. It watches every choice you make. Not to judge you, not to condemn you, but because your mind's entire job is to build an accurate picture of who you are. And the picture it builds determines what it believes you are capable of. You want to change what your mind believes you are capable of? Change what your mind watches you do. Not occasionally. Not when you feel inspired. Consistently, relentlessly, especially on the days when it is most difficult. Mental exhaustion is real. The particular kind of exhaustion that comes not from overwork, but from the ongoing internal war between who you are and who you know you could be. That exhaustion is not weakness. It is the symptom of a gap between potential and action. And the gap does not close through rest. It closes through movement. Make one promise to yourself today, a small one, a real one you will actually keep. And then keep it. And tomorrow, make another. And keep that one too. And do not wait for the feeling of trust to arrive before you act. Act. And let trust build itself from the material you give it. Because your mind is not your enemy. Your mind is a witness. And it is waiting, watching, with the same quiet patience it has always had, for the day you finally become someone worth believing in again. That day is not coming. That day is something you build. One kept promise at a time. One early morning at a time. One choice in the silence when no one is watching at a time. The war is not over, but for the first time in a long time, you are fighting on the right side. Comment, I'll earn my mind's trust back.